Their faces usually do this awkward twitch. Like I just told them I do dental work with a spoon. Oh, that's honest work, they say, in the same tone used to describe a street magician who eats nails for lunch. But the truth is, I like what I do. I know what time I clock in. I know what I'm making. I fix real problems with my hands, not just move decimal points in a spreadsheet, while pretending my coffee addiction is a personality trait. I stayed in town more than I died. Turned down a full-ride scholarship to state because Mom was drowning in bills and Jason, our crown prince of cardiology, couldn't possibly delay med school to help out. I took a job at a local plant my dad worked at for 30 years. Same smell, same machines, same worn-down lockers with names carved into the paint like grade markers. My mom hated it. Hated me for choosing it. This isn't what your father wanted, she'd say, every time she walked past me without looking. As if my existence was a smudge on her idea of what a family should be. I was supposed to become something. Someone she could brag about at her church brunches. Instead, I was the one who fixed the roof, replaced the water heater, and quietly paid the rest of my little sister Nadia's senior trip because Mom forgot. I never complained. Not once. Because I figured, maybe this was the cost of being the steady one. The one who stayed. Then came Mother's Day. I had just finished a 10-hour shift and was microwaving leftover pasta like a true gourmet king when my phone came. Family WhatsApp. I opened it. The message was short. Sharp. Poisoned like a needle. Happy Mother's Day dinner, Sunday at 6 p.m. I'm so proud of all my children who've worked hard and succeeded in life. You're what makes being a mom worth a growing heart bouquet. Then this. Jason, doctor. Laura, software engineer. Nadia, marketing manager. That was it. No. Michael. No. Love you all. Just a digital slap. And right under that, she added, some choices are too embarrassing to include. I no longer recognize anyone who chooses factory work over ambition. This dinner is for my successful children. I read it 5 times. Then again. Just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating with the well-being exposure. No one said a word. Not Jason. Not Laura. Not Nadia. Silence that screamed in all caps. No. What the hell, Mom? No. You forgot Michael. Not even a lazy emoji defense. Jason posted a thumbs up. Laura replied, can't wait. Nadia dropped a stupid sticker of a dancing flower. That's it. Like it was all fine. I stared at my pasta, then at the chat, then at the pathetic little, growing heart bouquet, emojis sitting under my erasure like a garnish on a turd. Then I calmly opened the settings. Deleted the group. Blocked every number. Set the phone down. And finally ate my pasta. Not because I was okay. Because I was done expecting to be. And when people ask now why I stopped talking to my family, I just say, Mother's Day. They think I'm joking. I'm not. I didn't rage. Didn't scream. Didn't text back some performative, wow, thanks, Mom. I just stopped. Stopped expecting anything. Stopped checking the chat. Stopped hoping someone would speak up for me. You know what's worse than being insulted? Being erased. The day after the Mother's Day message, I woke up like usual at 5:45 a.m., threw on my grease-stained uniform, and went to work. The line manager cracked a joke about my hair sticking up like a pinecone, and I fake laughed like everything was fine. I even held the door open for Dave from shipping, who's been mad at me since I called dibs on the last jelly donut 2 months ago. Everything looked the same. Except everything wasn't. I went home that night and deleted every photo on my phone that had a trace of them. Family vacations. Graduation. Birthdays. Even that blurry picture where Jason tripped on the porch and took out a potted plant. Gone. Then came social media. I knew Facebook? Dead. Instagram? Scrub. Group chats? Blocked. Snapchat? Who even uses that anymore? I even unfriended Aunt Carla, and she didn't do anything. But honestly, if you see someone being disowned like an expired carton of milk and don't say anything, you're part of it. Bye, Carla. The weirdest part was the silence. No text. No call. Not even a passive-aggressive Bible verse meme from Mom. I half expected Laura to send something condescending like, "We all process success differently," or Nadia to break the silence with one of her classic, "Mom didn't mean it like that," backpedals. But no. They were really going to let me disappear. And that's when it hit me. I didn't belong to them. I belonged to their narrative. And when I stopped fitting them, when I chose the factory over a corner office, I became the embarrassing footnote they didn't want to read out loud. So I started unlearning the need to be chosen by people who couldn't even choose kindness. I went to work, came home, watched YouTube videos about power systems, electrical theory, mechanical design. I started taking night classes at the local tech college. Quietly. No announcements. No Facebook humble brags. Just me, some coffee, and a dream. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'd clock out, change in the locker room, and head straight to campus in my steel toes and factory hoodie. Surrounded by kids 10 years younger who thought I was someone's uncle visiting the class. Didn't matter. Because slowly, something shifted. I started feeling proud of myself. Not enough. Mom posted my med school letter on Facebook again. Wait. No. This was different. This was earned. While Jason was out there being Dr. Golden Boy, and Laura was busy posting filtered selfies from the work bathroom, I was rebuilding from scratch, with a wrench in one hand and a textbook in the other. I didn't tell anyone, not even my coworkers, because this wasn't for sure. This was for me. But there were hard nights too. Nights where I'd scroll to their contacts and hover over their names. Where I almost texted Nadia, "Did you mean it too?" Where I nearly called Mom and asked, "Did it feel good? Cutting me out like that?" But I didn't. I'd already been invisible once. I wasn't going to audition for it again. So instead, I started journaling. Scribbling things I'd never said out loud. Writing down what I wish someone, anyone, had told me growing up. Things like, "It's okay to take a different path. Love isn't conditional on your LinkedIn bio. You're not broken. They just wanted a different mold." I kept that notebook tucked inside the old cigar box my dad left me. The one that still smelled like motor oil and aftershave. The only piece of him they didn't throw out. That little box became sacred. A reminder that someone once saw value in who I was, not who I might become. And as weeks turned to months, something wild happened. I started laughing again. Real laughs. Loud ones. Usually at dumb stuff, like someone at work microwaving fish. Or me dropping a wrench on my foot and pretending it didn't hurt because the intern was watching. I became more present. More focused. I could feel myself turning into someone solid. Not the kind of success my mom could post about, but the kind that stayed standing, even after being erased. I didn't make a grand comeback. No Instagram flexes. No. Watch me ride. Montages. Just early mornings, black coffee, steel-toed boots, and the quiet dignity of getting things done. I worked. Harder than I ever had. Learned every machine on the floor. Studied the systems. Memorized the layouts. Figured out why the ancient packaging robot glitched every third Tuesday like it had a union agreement with chaos. Management noticed. One day, my supervisor pulled me aside and said, "Hey, Mike. You ever thought about taking over a line?" I blinked. I'd been there for almost 5 years and never once heard those words. I shrugged. "Sure. What's the catch?" He laughed. "No catch. You've already been doing the work. Might as well pay you for it." 2 months later, I was off the floor and in a small glass office that overlooked the plant. The AC worked half the time. The chair squeaked. The desk had carvings from the early 2000s that said things like, "Fred rules," and, "Life sucks." But it was mine. I stopped going to night classes because I'd finished the program. Got certified. management and systems operations. It wasn't sexy, but it got me a 22% raise and a new badge that said lead. I still wore the same boots though. Just polished now. And I still told no one. As far as my family knew, I was still pressing buttons and wiping sweat off my brow. A nice little disappointment in overalls. Let them think that. That's when I met her. It wasn't some rom-com moment. No sparks flying over spilled coffee. No accidental hand touch over a conveyor belt. Her name was Rachel, and she worked in inventory. She was smart, sharp, and had a zero-tolerance policy for warehouse nonsense. First thing she ever said to me was, "If you're going to take over line 3, fix the barcode scanner. I'm not logging another 37 duplicates because some intern kicked the stand loose again." I stared at her for a beat, then grinned. "Hi, I'm Mike." She didn't smile back. "Fix the scanner, Mike." I fell in love a little right then and there. Rachel wasn't flashy. No fake voice. No factory flirt. She brought her own damn lunch in Tupperware, called out sexism like she was paid for it, and knew how to recalibrate a sensor faster than half the guys in maintenance. We started slow. Coffee, then lunch, then driving home together since we lived in the same general direction. Then, one night, it was raining like God was mad at us, and I offered to drive her all the way home. She looked at me, blinked, and said, "You want to come in? I have leftover chili and a couch that doesn't bite." That was it. That's how it started. No drama. No games. Just two people who understood long hours, aching feet, and the simple joy of good food and silence. After a few months, we moved in together. I didn't tell anyone. Rachel asked once, "Do your folks know about us?" I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was ridiculous. "They don't even know I still exist." She nodded. "You okay with that?" "More than okay," I said. "I've never been more peaceful in my life." We got married at the courthouse on a Tuesday. No big white dress. No ring bearer with a name like Bentley. Just her, me, and a bottle of decent red wine in the car for after. She kept her last name. I kept my peace. 6 months later, she was pregnant. She cried when she told me. Said she was scared. Said she didn't want to raise a kid in silence, in emotional starvation like we both grew up with. I held her hand and said, "This kid's gonna know they're loved before they know their own name." She nodded, smiled, then asked, "Do you want to tell your family?" I didn't hesitate. No, because people who can erase you once will try it again the moment you stop entertaining their version of you. And I had no intention of performing for them again. Let them think I'm still in overalls, fixing busted machines and begging for validation. Meanwhile, I'm building a life they'll never be invited to. By the time Rachel was 6 months pregnant, I'd been promoted twice. The factory had undergone a total modernization overhaul. New systems, new tracking software, new blood in the management pool. I didn't just survive it, I ran it. The same guy they once called Blue Collar Mike was now the one reviewing their budgets. They gave me a new title, Senior Plant Director. Nice office. 2 windows. A chair that didn't speak. Paycheck with a comma in it. I still brought my lunch in the same dented thermos. Kept me grounded. I didn't post it. Didn't share it. Didn't change my profile picture to a suit and tie headshot with inspirational quotes. But the local business journal did a write-up. From factory floor to executive suite, the rise of Michael Gentry. My picture, standing in front of the revamped assembly line, hard hat tucked under my arm, ran on the front page of their small-town movers and shakers section. It didn't take long after that. First came the text. "Hey stranger, saw you in the paper. Mom was so proud. We were just talking about how amazing you turned out. 2 hearts. We should catch up soon. Smiley face." It was from Laura. The same Laura who didn't say a damn thing when Mom cut me out of Mother's Day dinner like a bad ingredient. I didn't reply. 3 hours later, I got a call. Mom. The woman who publicly declared I wasn't her son anymore had suddenly discovered my number still worked. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Then I stared at it some more. She left a voicemail. Her voice was chipper, casual, like she was calling to ask about the weather. Hi, sweetheart. I saw your picture in the paper. Wow. I always knew you were capable of big things. Why didn't you tell us? Your brother and sisters were just saying how proud they are. Give me a call, okay? Let's get the family together. We have so much to celebrate. I didn't scream. I didn't block her. I didn't even throw the phone. I just sat there in my office, in my tailored button-down shirt, listening to a woman who once typed, I no longer see you as my son. Pretend like she forgot. I waited until the workday ended. Drove home. Had dinner with Rachel, grilled cheese and tomato soup, because she was craving something that feels like childhood, but with less trauma. We sat on the couch. She rubbed her stomach. I held her feet. Then I told her. She didn't say anything at first. Then she looked at me and asked, Do you want to call her? No, I said. Do you want to yell at her? No. Do you want to tell her off in an award-winning email? I laughed. Tempting. What do you want, Mike? I thought about it. Nothing, I said. That's the best part. For the first time in my life, I want absolutely nothing from her. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I got up, pulled out the envelope with the news we brought in, and slid it into our daughter's baby box. Right next to Rachel's first ultrasound photo and a tiny knitted hat from her sister. Not to brag. To remember that when they all forgot me, I didn't disappear. I built. And I didn't need a dinner invitation to prove it. It started with a call from building security. I was reviewing a supplier contract, sipping stale break room coffee, when the front desk rang. Mr. Gentry? There's a woman here asking for you. She says she's your mother. At first, I thought maybe I misheard. Then I stood up, walked to the window, and looked down 6 floors at the main entrance. And there she was, my mother. Same perfect hair. Same beige purse clutched against her ribs like a holy book. She was wearing the exact kind of outfit you pick when you want to say, I'm just a sweet older woman visiting my successful son, not the person who deleted him from her lifeline text. She looked like she expected cameras. Applause. Maybe a violin swell. I didn't feel anger. Not even discomfort. Just this calm, weightless clarity. Like my body knew there was no version of this ending where I opened that door and felt anything but worse. Does she have an appointment? I asked. The guard hesitated. She says she's family. I gave a short breath. She said I wasn't her son. So no, she isn't. Silence on the other end. Then a professional. Understood. Would you like us to remove her? Yes. Politely but firmly. And make a note, if she returns, she's not to be allowed inside. I hung up. Watched from the window as the security guard approached. He didn't touch her. Just pointed toward the parking lot, speaking slowly. My mother's posture didn't change. Arms folded. Head tilted just slightly. The same angle she used when I told her I wasn't going to college and she said, You're embarrassing me. She stood there for 20 minutes. Not pacing. Not making a scene. Just standing. Waiting. For what, I don't know. A change of heart? A wave from the window? Redemption? She didn't get it. I didn't move. At 6:12 p.m., after she was gone, I got a text from Nadia. She drove 2 hours to see you, Mike. You could have at least come down. She was crying outside your building. Oh, now they cry. I stared at my phone for a while. Then I realized. She erased me from the family for choosing factory work. You all let her. She's crying now because she can't rewrite the ending. Blocked her. Rachel got home just after 7 with takeout and sore feet. She kicked off her shoes, saw the look on my face, and asked, Which one of them tried it? My mom. showed up in person. Her eyebrows shot up. Did you talk to her? No. Security walked her off the property. Rachel dropped the food on the counter. Good. She didn't ask if I felt bad. She knew the answer. We ate on the couch, our daughter rolling in Rachel's belly like she was trying to kick her way into the conversation. After dinner, I pulled out my laptop and opened a folder I hadn't looked at in years. It was called Receipts. Inside was a single screenshot. The Mother's Day group chat message. All my children are successful, except Michael. He chose to be a factory worker. I no longer see him as my son. I read it once, then closed the laptop. Rachel leaned over and asked, Why do you keep that? I shrugged. Not out of bitterness. Just to remember what gaslighting can't erase. She nodded. Smart. We went to bed. The next morning, a photo began circulating in our company's Slack chat. Someone had snapped a shot of a woman standing outside the building, arms folded, looking devastated. Caption: That's someone's mom? She's been standing here for like 20 minutes straight. Wild. I didn't comment. Didn't react. Just muted the thread and got back to work. Later that afternoon, I got an email. From an address I didn't recognize at first. The subject line just said, You don't understand what it's like to be a mother. The name at the bottom? Erin Gentry. Of course. 3 days after she stood outside my building, the letter came. Not an email. Not a text. A physical letter. Handwritten. On floral stationery like this was 1994, and she was writing to Dear Aggie. It was addressed to Michael Gentry and family, which already pissed me off. It had been slid through our front door. No stamp. No envelope. Just folded paper with a name written in a handwriting I hadn't seen since birthday cards in middle school. Rachel found it first. She was putting groceries away, our toddler-sized stroller parked in the hallway, when she saw it lying on the mat. I came out of the bathroom and found her standing there, holding it like it might detonate. Her face was pale. She just said, It's from her. I took it gently. Read the first line. Michael, I don't know what you've told your wife about me, but I want her to know I always prayed for your happiness, even when I didn't understand your choices. So we're opening with passive aggression. Bold move. I skimmed the rest. It wasn't an apology. It was a manipulation. There were phrases like, I only said what I did out of fear. You've always been different, sensitive, stubborn. I'm sorry if you felt unloved. That magical little word people use when they want to express regret without taking accountability. Then came the closer. I don't want to die without meeting my granddaughter. Please don't keep her from me. We're still family. Rachel watched me finish reading, arms crossed. Well, I folded the letter. You were right. About what? She's not just toxic. She's radioactive. Rachel sat down on the couch, breathing slowly. She came to our house, Mike. I know. She found where we live. I know. She wants to see our daughter. I looked at her for a long moment, then picked up my phone and dialed. It rang twice. She answered on the third. Her voice was soft. Practice. Michael, don't come to my home again, I said. Don't leave letters. Don't send emails. Don't involve my wife or daughter. You had your chance. Michael, please. You don't get to talk about family now. You said I wasn't your son. You made that choice. I was upset. So was I. And I still showed up. Paid the bills. Helped with the house. Took care of things none of your successful children would touch. Silence. She tried again. I miss you. I regret what I said. No, you regret that I didn't stay small. That I didn't stay quiet. That I didn't stay desperate enough to still want your approval. A pause. Then the moment I'd waited for. She whispered, Can I meet my granddaughter? Just once? I didn't yell. Didn't shake. I just delivered the sentence that had lived rent-free in my chest for years. I no longer see you as family, she gasped. A sharp little intake of breath like I'd punched her through the phone. I hung up before she could cry. Blocked the number. Deleted the voicemail she left 2 minutes later without listening to it. Rachel walked over and wrapped her arms around me. She didn't say, "I'm proud of you." She didn't need to. Because this wasn't about triumph. It was about peace. And I wasn't going to trade mine for a woman who only remembered I existed when I became someone she could boast about to her book club. After that final call, everything got quieter. No more voicemails. No unexpected visitors. No envelopes with floral stationery on the mat. Rachel set up a security cam anyway. Just in case. We didn't talk about it much. We didn't have to. Some scars are better honored with silence. A few days later, I pulled out the old shoebox I'd kept buried in the back of my closet. It was filled with everything I hadn't had the nerve to throw away. Printouts of old texts. A photo of my siblings and me when we were kids, all teeth and sunburns. One last screenshot, that group chat message from Mother's Day. All my children are successful, except Michael. He chose to be a factory worker. I no longer see him as my son. I looked at it one more time. The punctuation. The boldness of her certainty. Then I printed it. Just one copy. I slid it into a folder labeled Proof I Didn't Imagine It. And then I locked the folder in a drawer. Not out of spite. Out of preservation. Because when you constantly gaslit, you learn to archive the pain, not to keep it, but to know it was real. That weekend, our daughter turned 1. She didn't know what a birthday was. Just that there were balloons, and frosting, and people who clapped when she smacked her cake like a tiny MMA fighter. Rachel made cupcakes. I grilled. We had a few friends over, people who'd stood by us when things were quiet, not just when headlines hit. No extended relatives. No forced hugs. Just love. The kind you don't have to earn. After everyone left, and we were cleaning out, our daughter sat on the floor playing with the toy phone. She held it up to her ear and babbled something incoherent, then looked at me and said, "Who dat?" I laughed. "That's just a pretend photo, baby." She looked thoughtful, as much as a 1-year-old can, and then asked, "Where's family?" Rachel paused mid-wipe on the counter. I knelt down, touched her tiny hand, and said, "Family is who loves you on the hard days." She blinked, then smiled, and repeated, "Hard days." Rachel came over, dropped down beside us, and kissed her forehead. "That's right. And who's your family?" Our daughter thought hard, then beamed. "You and Daddy. Forever family." It was a phrase she must have picked up from a bedtime book. Or maybe she just made it up. It didn't matter. Because that was it. That was the moment I'd never gotten growing up. The certainty. The stability. The unshakable sense that you are wanted, not just when you're winning, but when you're tired. Or messy. Or imperfect. I didn't need a press release to announce I moved on. I didn't need a final confrontation. I just needed that moment. In our living room, with frosting on the carpet and a toddler on my lap. That night, after she went to sleep, Rachel found me standing in the doorway of her nursery, arms crossed, staring at the tiny crib filled with stuffed animals. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. "Just remembering. Good memories or bad?" "Neither," I said. "Just noticing the difference." She stepped beside me, rested her head on my shoulder. "You did it, you know," she said softly. "You broke the pattern." And for the first time in my life, I believed it. 6 weeks after the birthday party, I got one last email. No subject line. No greeting. Just one line, sitting heavy in the middle of the screen. "Let's not throw away 30 years over a misunderstanding." I stared at it for maybe a minute. Then I laughed. Out loud. Alone in my office. A misunderstanding. Like her typing out that I was no longer her son in front of 3 witnesses was just her phrasing. like I'd been confused. Dramatic. Touchy. I closed the laptop. Didn't respond. 2 days later, she sent a photo. Her, standing by a lake, holding a daisy. Caption: Forgiveness is freedom. No. I blocked the email. This time for good. Because here's the truth they never understand. Some people think setting a boundary is an attack. That saying no is cruel. That cutting off the people who hurt you is the real betrayal. But I didn't betray anyone. I just finally chose myself. I chose my daughter. My quiet, ordinary life built from scratch. I didn't erase her. She erased me. I just stayed gone. And I'm not coming back.